I had exactly 24 hours. The timer started the moment the house lights came up during intermission. The velvet on the theater seat felt damp from my sweat. In the dark of the hall, under the opening strains of the overture, I thought she was holding my hand. Laura, my wife of 25 years, a warm, familiar palm. I squeezed it and felt calm, idiotically calm. Then the light hit, harsh and yellow, like a judge's lamp. I blinked and the world split. Her hand, Laura's hand, was lying in the palm of another man in the next seat. He was younger, scruffy, with a soft smile that died the instant he saw me. He looked at me. Laura looked at me. Her eyes were frozen with terror. She pulled her hand back, awkwardly and too slowly. I looked down at my own hand. I was holding a crumpled playbill, a paper talisman. I had clutched that damn program through the entire first act, telling myself it was her hand I felt. The house was buzzing. People stood up and streamed toward the lobby. The smell of dust, perfume, and champagne filled the air. I couldn't breathe. "Mark," she started. "Shut up," I hissed. I stood without looking at them and pushed through the rows, knees knocking strangers' feet, and walked out, not to the lobby, out into the cold New York night. I heard her hurry after me. The kid remained seated, frozen. It was sleeting. The wet flakes stung my face and sobered me. She grabbed my arm through my coat. "Mark, that's not what you think. It's Ryan, he's just—" I spun so hard she stumbled back. 52 years, the head of a legal department, everything like a title and a badge, all peeled away like husk. There stood a lying woman. "Shut up," I said. I went to the parking lot. She ducked after me. We got into the car, a black Mercedes S-Class, my fortress and my coffin. I started the engine. The wipers scraped the sticky snow. Her ragged breathing was the only sound in the cabin. "It's just a co-worker," she lied. "He has problems." I was comforting him. I slammed the gas. The car leapt forward. Laura screamed and pressed into the seat. We flew around the parkway and into the night. "You were holding his hand." My voice was flat, too flat. "You were holding his hand." I turned into the driveway and killed the engine. We sat in the dark. 22 hours left. "Mark, please, we have kids," she begged. "Our kids." I looked at the filthy snowbank in front of me. "Yes, we have kids. Our son in Chicago, our daughter in London. They're grown. They are not your shield." "Who is he?" she said. "Nobody. Just someone I know." She lied. I struck the steering wheel. The horn wailed. The empty courtyard jolted. Laura jumped and then began to cry in that quiet way she always did. Soft, practiced. Manipulation had always worked for her. Not that night. I got out and slammed the door so hard the glass nearly cracked. The apartment was quiet. Too quiet. Our place on the Upper East Side. For rooms we used to call our nest. Now they smelled of lies. I went to my study and poured myself a full glass of whiskey. Ice clinked. She came behind me, calm now, resolute, ready to fight. "You're going to ruin everything, Mark. You always ruin things with your jealousy," she said. I drank it down in one burn. "Get out," I said without looking up. "What? Of my office?" She scoffed and left. I sat at my desk and opened my laptop. My fingers are instruments. My brain is a weapon. I'm head of legal. I know how to search. Ryan Belsky, 38, small-time entrepreneur and fitness coach, if his social profiles were to be believed. Too many pictures. He loved himself. He loved himself with my wife. I found them. Restaurants, hotels, photos even from our country house. While I was on business trips, while I earned this apartment, her clothes, the kids' educations, she'd been running a second life. She left a burner phone in her bag when she bolted out of the theater, chasing me. It sat on the hall table. I smashed it against the wall. Plastic and glass exploded across the parquet. She rushed in at the sound, saw the shards, and her face twisted with anger, not fear. "You're crazy," she snapped. I had 16 hours left. I grabbed the keys to the old Range Rover and left. Night in Manhattan. I drove without goal. I remembered how we met, college kids. She had been light. I had been nobody. I clawed my way forward for her, for us. I stopped at a 24-hour deli and drank vile coffee from a plastic cup. My rage ebbed, replaced by a cold, calculated legal calm. I know the law, and I know how to use it. This Ryan was nothing, dust, but he had touched what was mine. He humiliated me, and she had let it happen. I found his address, a cheap high-rise in the Bronx. The lobby reeked of urine and mildew. The elevator was out. I climbed to the 12th floor on foot and waited in a dark stairwell. An hour later, a cab pulled up. He stepped out, rubbing his hands, wearing the same jacket from the theater. When he put the key in the door, I stepped out of the shadows. "Enjoy the show, Ryan?" I said. He turned. Fear in his eyes was almost comical. He tried to speak, but I grabbed him by the throat and shoved him against the wall. Plaster dust fell. He choked. "Igor," he rasped, mispronouncing my name in his panic. Note, he knew me by my given name. I tightened my grip. He wheezed. I pulled the crumpled theater program from my pocket, the same one I'd clutched all night, and shoved it at him. "Eat that," I said. "This is your payment." I hit him once in the solar plexus. He folded and slid down the wall, coughing up paper. "You picked the wrong woman. You picked the wrong house. You have 10 hours to leave the city, this country. If you're in the U.S. in 10 hours, I will ruin you. I didn't mean physically. I'm a lawyer. I will make you regret being born." I let him go. He spit the paper. "And Laura," he croaked. "Laura is my problem." I went back to my office as dawn began to stain the sky. 8 hours left. I sat at the desk. My hands didn't shake. I was calm, in my element. I opened files, assets, accounts, powers of attorney. 25 years of marriage. Laura had never worked. Everything was in my name. I'd been a trusting fool. I found what I needed. Transfers, large sums wired into an account opened under a maiden name, and then to Ryan Belsky. She wasn't just sleeping with him. She'd been supporting him with my money. They were stealing from me. My rage returned, but now the fire had frozen into ice. I made one call, to a man who solves problems, my problems. I need everything, by morning, and prepare the divorce papers. He acknowledged and I hung up. Revenge had begun. She was still asleep in our bed when I was already closing bank accounts. 8 hours. Dawn's gray light threw dust motes over my desk. I hadn't slept. A stack of documents lay before me, my arsenal. She walked in wearing the silk robe I brought her from Milan, the smell of expensive cream and sleep. She tried to look bewildered. "Mark, you were up?" I was worried. She froze in the doorway when she saw the printout of one of her accounts. The mask fell. Anger, cold and snake-like. "You were going through my things." "I was going through my money, Laura." She paled. She realized I knew everything. "You wouldn't dare," she hissed. "Don't drag the kids into this." You did this yourself. I put on my jacket. Fear finally crept into her voice as I said, I'm taking back what's mine. At 7 a.m. in the underground parking of my building, I met Clem, my former security officer, now freelance. He sat in a tinted G-Wagon, diesel and concrete stench. He handed me a heavy envelope and a flash drive. Clean. I asked, as a baby's tear, aside from $500,000 in gambling debts wired to some guy from Chechnya, he said with a smirk. Deadline by tomorrow. Your trainer is a walking corpse, Mark. Why him? He drained everything she sent into online casinos. Yesterday's balance, 30 grand. Papers for divorce are notarized and backdated. All assets frozen. She gets nothing until you say otherwise. Ryan's in the Bronx. He's scared, but he didn't leave. Your order was ignored. Good, I said. I left the car and went back to my office. My midtown skyscraper. My tower. 5 hours left. My assistant Lena brought coffee. You look tired, Mr. Reed, she said. I brushed it off and started the process. Freeze accounts, seize property, revoke every power of attorney I'd ever given her, every card blocked. I pictured her at a salon or restaurant with empty plastic. She wanted a war. She got one, but she didn't know I'd come with nuclear options. I called Laura. She picked up right away, sobbing. Mark, I can't even afford gas. My cards. They're not your cards anymore, Laura. You can't do that. There's no our money. There's mine. And there's what you stole. I hung up. She called again 10 times in a row. I muted my phone. Revenge is a dish best not just served cold, but frozen solid. Power. That's what buzzed through me now, not whiskey. 2 hours remained. The 10-hour deadline I'd given Ryan had run out. He hadn't left. He'd ignored me. Probably thought I was bluffing. I took the Range Rover this time, not the Mercedes. You need a battering ram for this kind of thing. The crumpled playbill lay on the passenger floor like a talisman. I gripped it until the paper crinkled. Bronx building. Same foul lobby. Same dead elevator. I climbed to the 12th floor and heard voices beyond his door. I didn't knock. I kicked. The cheap lock gave. The scene hit like a painting come to life. Ryan, with the mark under his eye I'd given him, and Laura, standing in the middle of the room with a duffel bag. She'd come to pull him out. Mark, she squealed. Ryan backed away into the corner. You were supposed to be gone, I said, looking at him, not her. He stared, whimpering. I don't have the money, Mr. Reed. You spent it in the casino. He thought it was a question, not a verdict. I closed the space between us. He tried to brush me off. I grabbed his hand. I'm 52, a lawyer by trade, but rage gave me the strength of a younger man. I snapped his finger. The sound in that quiet apartment was sharp and final. He howled. Laura screamed. I hit him again. He went down. He cried, smearing blood and snot across his face. You're nothing, I said. I pulled out the envelope Clem had given me. Signed IOUs, collections, paperwork. You owe $500,000 to serious people, not me. I looked at Laura. She pressed her hands over her mouth in the corner. He used you. You paid for his time, I told her. And now men will come for his life. Ryan's face turned white. My man who watched you called him when he saw you hadn't left, I said. They're already in the elevator. The apartment intercom buzzed, sudden and insistent. Ryan panicked. I looked at Laura. You're coming with me or you stay here? Time slowed. The intercom buzzed again. She glanced between us. Ryan whimpered on the floor. She grabbed her bag and moved toward me, not to me, away from him. I pushed her ahead and opened the door. On the landing stood 3 big men smelling of cheap cigarettes and sweat. The leader, shaved head, dead eyes, sized me up. "Apartment 47?" he rumbled. I nodded toward Ryan, still whimpering on the floor. "Your client owes $500,000. Deadline was yesterday." The leader looked at me, then at Laura behind me. "And you are?" he asked. "I'm the man who wants the debt repaid," I said. He smiled like a man who understood the business. "Move," he told me. We stepped into the elevator. As the doors closed, I heard him say, "You boys, let's get to work." Laura didn't hear the first blow. She clung to my sleeve. I pulled her fingers free. We rode down in heavy silence. In the car, she didn't speak. Dawn found the city waking, gray and dirty, snow crusted on the curbs. The Range Rover purred. "They'll kill him," she whispered. "He brought it on himself," I said. "You told them we're finding a man who spent the money that wasn't his." She went quiet. The hot part of my anger cooled to an icer, methodical void. I didn't save her for her sake. I save her because I decide how she will be punished, not debt collectors or a corner thug. I looked over at her silent tears. They didn't move me. They annoyed me. We didn't go home to the Upper East Side. We stopped in an old pre-war walk-up I'd inherited from an aunt in Washington Heights. It smelled of mildew and cats. I pushed her inside. Sheets draped the furniture. Dust lay thick. "This isn't our home," she said, voice shaking. "It is now. It'll be your address while the divorce runs," I said, and tossed her bag onto the floor. "You can't. You won't be on my cards. Your iPhones, your accounts, your friends, gone. 2 numbers on this phone, mine and my lawyer's." I put a cheap Nokia in her hand. "Call the kids, only if I say so." She latched onto the idea of calling our children. "I'll call them," she pleaded. "Please." "You'll call with this phone. When I allow it." I left her alone in that dusty, cold apartment and returned to my tower, my 50-story fortress in the city, the place where everything shrunk beneath me. I took a shower in the office and washed off the smell of the Bronx. Fresh shirt, clean tie. Lena, my assistant, brought coffee. "Mr. Reed, Clem is here," she said. Clem walked in without knocking. He sat opposite me in the tinted window SUV I'd used earlier, diesel and concrete still clinging to him. "How's he?" I asked. "Alive. Barely. Fingers busted, ribs bruised. He'll be moved to a detail for those guys. He won't show up again." Clem nodded. "Your wife?" "Safe," he said. "Enjoying her new life." Clem understood the rest without me spelling it out. The divorce had been prepared, assets frozen, proofs gathered. She would get nothing. She'd been stealing from me, and I had the receipts. He left. I sat down, opened her accounts, and began to shut them one by one. The transfers to Ryan were pennies. Window dressing. I dug deeper. I'm head of legal. I see patterns. Real money was leaving, not to Ryan, but offshore, Cyprus. Layered shells, nominee directors, a maze. She couldn't have engineered that. The trainer was smoke, a decoy. I worked all day on coffee and water. The anger that came back wasn't husband's rage. It was the fury of a man watching someone try to steal the work of his life. By evening, I found it, a transaction chain leading to a paper company. Its beneficial owner, Andrew Makarov, my partner, my friend, the man I built this business with from zero. I stared at the screen. Laura and Makarov, together, they'd been draining my money. This wasn't just infidelity. It was a conspiracy. I leaned back, tasted bile, and thought of that night at the theater. I thought she was holding my hand. She was holding her lovers while her accomplice waited somewhere for me to break. I pulled the crumpled playbill from my pocket. My symbol, my verdict. They thought the show was over. It was only Act One. I called the cheap Nokia I'd left with Laura. She answered on the first ring. "Mark, please come get me." "I'm coming. We're going to talk about Makarov." Silence. Then a deadline. She dropped the phone. I drove through New York at night, toward the walk-up in Washington Heights. Third day awake. The Range Rover ate the empty streets. She'd be waiting. She'd be scared. She thought I was coming to rescue her. I was coming to interrogate her. The smell of cats and damp didn't even register anymore. I unlocked the door and flipped on the bare bulb. She sat on the floor, arms around her knees, the same clothes, dust on her sleeves. Hope flickered in her eyes. "Makarov." I said, not a question. Hope turned to horror. I don't know," she stammered. I laughed, a dry, dead sound. "You've lied to me for 25 years. You lied at the theater. You're lying now." I dragged a chair in front of her and sat. Dust lifted. Ryan was cover, a pocket toy. Makarov was a business. He said, her voice cracked. He said you were going under, that you invested wrong, that everything would be taken. He said he could save a part for me and the kids. What a beautiful lie, I said. The part he saved landed in his Cyprus offshore. You signed papers, Laura, powers of attorney. You handed him access to my personal accounts. I thought it was for protection. You knew enough. You were with him. I leaned in. I don't care about your affair. This is business. He tried to steal my life, and you helped him. You'll stay here until I decide what to do. Help me, and I help you. She grabbed the lifeline. I nodded. You'll sign what I put in front of you when I say. I left her keening in the dusty apartment and went back to my tower. 3 a.m. city lights below. I thought of Makarov, friend, brother, the one man I trusted more than myself. The knife in the back hurt worse than Laura's hand in Ryan's. That was humiliation. This was betrayal. Whiskey, ice, laptop. If Makarov thought I was bankrupt, it's because he was bankrupting me. I stopped digging like a husband and started like a prosecutor. By dawn, I had the map. Fake liabilities, assets pushed to straw companies, a hostile takeover of my own firm. He was ready to have me declared incompetent or buried in criminal exposure. Laura and her theft, Ryan and his sleaze, misdirection. I called Clem. I want Makarov 24/7. Where he goes, who he sees, what he eats. And I want leverage. Anything. That'll cost, Mr. Reed. He's not Ryan. He's serious. I'll pay triple. I flattened the playbill on my desk. Cast of characters. Laura, Ryan, Makarov. I'd been a spectator. Now I was the director. I set the trap. 2 sleepless days on caffeine and anger. I found his weakness, not in business, in family. A son from his first marriage, 20 years old, using hard drugs. Makarov had been covering it up with cash-in favors. I called Clem. I need the son. Why? He's my lever. A pause. I'll get it done, but you're in dark water. I'm already swimming. Next day, I asked Makarov to meet at our favorite steak place. He arrived smiling, clapped my shoulder. Heard about trouble with Laura. You okay, old man? Expensive cologne, and lies. Trouble. I nodded. That's why I called. Andrew, I need help. He tensed. What kind of help? I want to move everything to you temporarily while the divorce plays out. You know Laura, she'll want half. He didn't expect that. He blinked. He saw a broken man. Of course, Mark. You're like a brother. Greed blinds. I slid a folder across. Just a management authorization. He opened it. His smile drained away. It wasn't a POA. It was a sworn confession. Asset stripping, account numbers, dates. What is this? His voice went icy. Your one-way ticket. You're insane. I'm not signing. Oh, you will. I put my phone on the table. On the screen, a video. His son in a trap house with a dose. Shot last night. Where did you... Doesn't matter. What matters is it's already backed up. If you don't sign, it goes where it needs to. Your boy goes away for a long time. He stared at me with distilled hate. Sign, Andrew. His hand shook. He signed. I took the folder. Now, Laura, I said, what about her? She'll sign what's needed in exchange for freedom, and you'll return what you stole and leave. You'll destroy me. I already did. You just don't know it yet. I stood and left him with the check. Cold air outside felt like victory, empty and frigid. I called Clem. Let the kid go. Make sure Makarov gets on a plane. Today. On it. I drove back to the empty apartment on the Upper East Side. I thought about the kids. Our son in Chicago, our daughter in London. They didn't need to know what their father had become. I stepped inside. On the coffee table, an unmarked envelope. Inside, a photo, my daughter walking out her dorm in London. Behind her, a man, not one of Clem's. A stranger. A note. You don't play by the rules, Mark. I can, too. No signature. Didn't need one. Makarov hadn't run. He'd just changed the stage set. The photo shook in my hand. I called Clem first. He's in London. He's near my daughter. Pull him off. Now. Breathe, Mr. Reed. He didn't cross any border. Neither he nor his son. That plane you watched? Decoy. He's playing you. The man in the photo's local, not his guy. I'm tracing him. He's just watching. For now. For now. I hung up and called my daughter. Rings felt like forever. Dad. Her sleepy voice. Early morning in London. Hey, sweetheart. I tried to sound level while my lungs burned. Are you okay? It's 6 a.m. I'm fine. Just be careful today. Don't go anywhere alone, okay? Dad, you're scaring me. What happened? Nothing. Big deal closing. I'm wired. I love you. I couldn't tell her the monsters I'd let loose were looking at her. Back in my office at 4 a.m., it felt like someone else's domain. He moved everything. Clem's words pounded in my head. I pulled up the terminals. Zeros. My firm, my empire, a hollow shell. He hadn't just stolen. He'd pinned the mess to me. The fake debts, the sham contracts, even my win at the steakhouse, my so-called confession. A play. He made me sign what he wanted by pretending to be the victim. I'm a lawyer, and I got played like a freshman. The playbill lay on my desk, my symbol. I'd been the audience. I thought I'd become the director. I was just a prop. Makarov was a director. Rage hit so hard I forgot to breathe. I slammed the desk. The monitor toppled. He'd used my anger against me. He knew I'd go all the way, and he laid the groundwork. He needed a fall guy. He didn't just run with the money. He left me to cover his escape. He left me to be eaten alive by the senior partners, the people he feared, the people whose money he'd likely stolen too. They would come for me. But first, I had to find him. I needed leverage. I had one piece left. I drove back to Washington Heights. Same damp, same cats. I kicked the door, no time for keys. Laura screamed from the corner, dusty, shaken, small. "Get up," I said, hauling her to her feet. "You're coming with me." "Home." Hope flickered in her voice. "We're going to work," I said. "You're going to help me find Makarov." For the first time, I didn't see fear in her eyes. I saw hate. "He'll kill you, Mark. He'll kill both of us. He's not who you think." "I know. Talk." I didn't take her to my office or the apartment. Clem had a motel room off the Beltway. Chlorine and cigarettes. I set her on the bed. He kept talking about the senior partners. I said, "Who are they?" "I don't know," she cried. "He was afraid of them. Said the money wasn't his. Said he was just a manager. If anything went wrong, they'd kill him. And something went wrong." She jabbed a finger at me. "You went wrong. You started digging. You broke his plan." So I was right. He was stealing from thieves. And he meant to make me the patsy. Where is he weak? Not the son. Something else. She hesitated. "Talk, Laura." "He's watching Anya," she whispered. My daughter's name changed her face. "He found her," she said, breaking. "I don't know where he is. But I know where his real money is. Not Cyprus. Here." She was my last chance, my weapon. "A safe deposit box," she said. "At Vanguard." He opened it in my name. Called it a safety cushion for me. She gave a crooked, miserable smile. He thought I was stupid. I knew he was lying. "I didn't know you." "We're going now." I said, "They're looking for me. They're looking for him. We go now." I opened the door. Clem stood there, gray-faced. "Too late," he said. "The senior partners know. They aren't looking for Makarov. They're looking for you. They think you're his accomplice, that you stole everything." My phone chimed. A video. Me at the restaurant sliding a folder to Makarov, smiling. The audio was doctored. My voice said, "It's done. Assets are out. Wheels up." Makarov's voice, "You sure Mark won't find out?" A fake voice answered in my name. Then the message, "You have 24 hours to return the money, or your daughter in London will trip." A new timer. 24 hours. "They hung it all on you," Clem said. "Makarov's a genius. This isn't debt collectors. These are men who don't go to court." Laura sat folded on the bed. "The box," I rasped. "At Vanguard. In her name. You think there's money there?" Clem asked. "I think there's leverage." "I'm not going to the bank," Laura said. "They're hunting you." I gripped her shoulder. "You are going. You're my key." He's watching Anya. The name struck her. She understood. Clem nodded. "All right. No better plan. 19 hours. We took the Range Rover, less conspicuous. Clem drove. I sat in back with Laura. We're being tailed. Clem said, eyes on the mirror, Blackian. 2 blocks. Senior partners people. They know about the motel. They gave you time to think. Now they want to see where you run for cash. "Let them watch," I said, fingering the crumpled playbill in my pocket. As long as my daughter was in danger, I hadn't lost. "You go in," I told Laura. "Open the box. I'll be right behind you. Whatever's inside, you hand it to me." What if it's quiet? Vanguard downtown. Clem said, I'll distract them. Give you 5 minutes. No, let them see. They won't touch me in a bank lobby. They think I'm a cornered rat scrambling for money. Let them. Clem glanced back and smirked. You're mean when you're angry, Mr. Reed. I'm furious. We walked in. Marble, polish, a hush of money. I held Laura by the elbow. The Kian men came in behind us, one tall in a cashmere coat, the other built like a cabinet. They didn't hide. Say 4:15, Laura told the manager, voice shaking. Keys, corridor, vault, bars and heavy steel. We stepped into the booth. The manager left. Open it, I said. She did. No cash. A thin MacBook, a stack of papers, a few flash drives. What is this? She whispered. I opened the laptop. No password. Of course. He'd left this for Laura, assuming I'd thrown her away. I clicked a single file on the desktop. Ledger. It wasn't a cushion. It was a bomb. Everything, every real transaction where the senior partner's money went. And more. Names, schemes, assets. Makarov had been stealing from them for years while building a dossier on them. He framed me so they'd hunt me while he sailed off with the blackmail file. I slid in a flash drive. What are you doing? She asked. Copying. Triumph should have felt warm. It didn't. It felt surgical. I had a weapon against him, and against them, we walked out with the laptop. The two men were waiting. Mr. Reed, the tall one said, we need to talk about the money. We'll talk, I said, but not here. Here's perfect. Laura, I said quietly, go wait in the car. Go. She ran. The big one stepped to block her. I'm not a fighter. I'm a lawyer. I'm a father. I drove the laptop's corner into the big man's throat hard. He coughed and staggered. I hurled the steel drawer at the tall one's face. Glass shattered. Shouts. Security. I bolted. Out the doors. The Rover's back door swung open. I dove in. Drive. Shots cracked. The rear glass spidered. Laura screamed. Clem pushed into oncoming, then down a side street. Where? He asked. Your shop, I said. I need time. A garage. Gas and rust. Clem pulled a shard from my sleeve and wrapped my arm while I cabled the laptop into an old monitor. What are you looking for? He asked. Him. The ledger wasn't just a dossier. It was a map of Makarov's exit. I found a warehouse on the edge of the city, supposedly abandoned. He hadn't flown. He was hiding, waiting for the seniors to devour me. Laura, I need you one last time. I said. She stared at me. You'll call him. He won't pick up for me. He will for you. Tell him you have the laptop. Tell him you want your share, his share. She called. No answer. I put the Nokia to her ear. Again. Rings. Then his voice, tight and angry. Laura? Andrew? What the hell? I know everything. I have the laptop from a box. Silence. What do you want? I want out. With you. Mark will kill me. The seniors will kill me. Help me? He believed it. He always thought she was foolish. He gave an address. The warehouse. Come alone. If I see Mark, it's over. He hung up. I looked at Clem. Now I need the seniors. You sure? I've got 20 hours. My daughter. I texted the same number that had threatened me. I don't have your money. I have the man who does, and proof. Then the warehouse address. You're turning them on each other. Clem said. I'm staging the finale, I said, turning to Laura. She understood. You're not sending me there, right? No, your role is done. I nodded to Clem. Take her back to the Heights. Lock the door. Wait. They left. I was alone in the stink of the garage. Less than 20 hours to keep my daughter safe. I drove to the warehouse. Industrial no man's land. Night snow coming in again. I arrived an hour early. Rusted hangar, the stink of oil. I didn't go in. I climbed the exterior stairs and stretched out on the roof felt. The wind cut my face. I had Makarov's laptop and a flash with the copy. My insurance. I pulled out the crumpled playbill. Act 1, Betrayal. Act 2, Retribution. Now the finale, an engine, right on time. Makarov, a beat-up compact, keeping a low profile. He got out, nervous, a pistol in hand, and went inside. 5 minutes. 10. He'd smelled the trap. He shouted Laura. He knew. Engines again, a Cayenne and a G-Wagon. The senior's men, the tall one in the coat, for more. They didn't sneak. They owned the ground. They went in. A thud. A yell. I texted Clem. Begin. He was my dead man switch. He had a copy of the ledger. I climbed down and stepped in. Light was dim. Makarov on the floor. The big one holding him by the hair. The tall one brushing off his coat. They saw me. Mr. Reed, the tall one said. You've saved us time. I brought what you came for, I said, lifting the laptop. Where's the money? He stole it. I nodded at Makarov. And he stole yours, too. He's lying, Makarov rasped. He said, the laptop, the tall one said. His eyes were ice. It's yours, I said, with terms. You don't have terms. You do if you want my daughter in London to stay untouched. His gaze sharpened. This ledger is yours, I said, opening the screen. But the copy. I turned the laptop so he could see the progress bar. Upload 10%. Is on a dead man server. If I don't enter the cancel code in 10 minutes, it goes to the right places. He wasn't a thug. He was a businessman. What do you want? First, my daughter. Call your watcher. Now. He leaves. He dialed, spoke, briefly met my eyes. 5 minutes. He's gone. Second, him. I pointed at Makarov. He's yours. Accounts. Assets. I don't care. But he pays for what he did to my family. The tall one nodded. The big man put his gun away. Third, you forget my name. I'm bankrupt. I'm nobody. You never saw me. I never saw you. And the cat, he asked dryly. I'll send it when I'm safe, I said, and set the laptop between us. Intermission. I turned and walked out. Behind me, Makarov started to scream. I didn't look back. Snow fell as I crossed a bridge out of the district. I called Clem. It's done, I said. It's done, he answered. Watcher stood down. Anya called. Said she was sleepy and didn't understand why you checked in. I exhaled for the first time in days. The ledger, what do I do with it? Burn it, I said. The show's over. And Laura? I'll handle her. Washington Heights. Cats and damp. Clem waited in the car. I went in alone. She sat on the same chair. When she saw me, she stood. Mark, we won, she said. I looked at the woman I'd loved for 25 years, the woman who betrayed me twice. I signed the divorce papers. You get this apartment, I said. Everything in it. That's your cushion. Her face twisted. Mark, no, you can't. Where will I go? You already arrived, Laura. I set the crumpled playbill on the table. You chose your show. Live in it. I left. I didn't listen for her tears. Back in the Upper East Side place. The quiet, the emptiness. I'd lost everything. The firm, the money, my wife, my friend. I poured water and sat. My hands were steady. I called my daughter. Dad, again, she said, teasing. Deal's closed, I said. All good. How are you? Fine. Studying, she said. You sound calm. I think so, too. We talked about weather in school. I hung up. The timer stopped. Makarov got his. The seniors got theirs. Laura got hers. They took everything from me, but I got myself back. I was free. The story was over.